Okay, for the record, this is in reference to case number 2011, CP001342, followed by 4 zeros, XX. This was in the matter of Eddie Lee Henry, Mr. Eddie Lee Henry. This was a probate issue involving his estate. This was a probate issue involving his estate. He deceased in 2011, just short of his 90th birthday. So you're asking how I know so much about this man. You want to know why? I believe Judge Ellen Masters and Assistant Attorney Jacqueline Kurland basically you administered this whole case. So you're asking, how do I know so much about this man, Mr. Eddie Lee Henry? Who was Eddie Lee Henry? Who was Uncle Henry? And why I might look very disgusted and upset right now. Take a good look at this photo and remember it. That was a picture taken of my Uncle Henry, probably in the 50s. That man was my uncle. That man did so much for me and my stepmom. He went to nursing school. He was a nurse. He retired in 1989. He became a nurse in 1950, I believe. And he had that profession for 40 years almost. Then he retired. He had a house in Lakeland, Florida, on 828th North New York Avenue. Me and my stepmom went to see him. That was my first time going to Florida. My second time, rather. I went in 94. Then I went by myself to see him in 96 and in 98. In 2000, he came to New York. He flew to New York for my step-parents' wedding in 2000. When he went back to Florida, I didn't see him ever again, because I was working. I had a lot going on, a lot of responsibilities. I did not see my uncle in person ever again since summer of 2000 when he came up to New York for my step-parents' wedding. My Uncle Henry had an old, dilapidated house that he never renovated. He had that house on 828th North New York Avenue in Lakeland, Florida. He had 2 dogs, Sue and Jojo. They probably passed away. They were That was well over 30 years ago. About 30 years ago, he had those dogs. Jojo passed away in 2000 after he lived to be about 8 years old. And Sue, I'm sure she passed away, even though she had lived on. Me and my Uncle Henry had a lot of good talks. He had a lot of wisdom. He told me how to conduct myself. He gave me good advice. We used to go to Publix. He used to shop at Publix often. So we would take the Citrus Connection bus and take it to the store and shop and help him, would walk back. We probably would stop at churches, get some takeout or whatever. These are just memories I have of me and my uncle, my late uncle. He sent us the same type of fruitcake from the Collins Street Bakery. It was a cake with all types of nuts and stuff, almonds, walnuts, the dried fruits they use. And he sent that every Christmas until he couldn't do it anymore. He mailed that for us in New York. I regret not being there for my uncle's last days, but we were all the way in New York. I was working, I had a lot of responsibilities. So I apologize. I was not able to be there for him, but he had people in the community that he knew for a while that checked up on him. I know Carolyn King. I met Carolyn King in '94. And she's an old woman now. I went to Florida in 2017. I went to Kissimmee. I had some distant relatives. And I actually got a ride to Lakeland. And I seen Miss Carolyn King for the first time in almost 20 years. Because the last time I saw her was when I went down to '98. That was already 19 years that passed. I went there to say hi, and she was so astounded to see me again after all those years. Why am I talking about all this all these sentimental events? Assistant Attorney Kurland and Ellen S. Masters, I think. I believe that Masters retired, but that you were the judge assigned to the estate of my uncle, my late uncle. And between the assistant attorney and the judge and I guess Florida's laws regarding deceased persons and their property, my uncle Henry's whatever he had in his bank accounts was confiscated illegally. I addressed the probate court several times, and I'm still continuing to do so. So now now you know who I look like. No more emailing people not knowing who's behind it. I want this court to know who I am and the connection I had with my late uncle. I'm not just some random guy trying to get attention. This is serious. This is a serious matter. The estate of my Uncle Henry's estate was taken over. Just like that. Without even knowing who his real family and his friends were. I can tell you, and I can put my life on the line, that if Uncle Henry was here today, he would have said that Renault Chevalier and his mom, Eva Pearson, are to get a piece of my estate. Uncle Henry is part of our family. And you two individuals, you assistant attorney general, and the judge, two white women, you just concocted something so his entire estate gets handed off to the state of Florida without knowing who, if he had family or close friends, very close family or friends. This court here, this issue is not over, even though it says closed in the docket. This is not how it's going to end. You don't just seize someone's property and their assets because they deceased, forgetting that that person may have had other family members. So this case had better be reopened or there'll be serious consequences. You white females that are judges and assistant attorney generals, you think it's okay to just do as you please. The ball stops right here, not with me. And try this on other black men if you want to, not on me. The ball stops here. It will not pass with me. So you better reopen this goddamn case. Do it the right way. Because I deserved some of that estate. I slept in that man's house in a separate room. He had pecan trees, and he had other types of fruits. I used to go into trees and pick fruits from, because since he couldn't really climb on ladders and do that. I remember Mr. Reed. He was another old timer. These guys are great generation people, born in the 20s. I remember Mr. Reed. He had an old Chevy Astro van. He used to drive us around when I came down to 94. Mr. Reed passed on. So no, it's not going to end the way you think it's going to end, by just taking this this wonderful man who worked his whole goddamn life, take his assets because he passed away and not distribute it evenly to the people that were close to him. This case had better be reopened. Had better fucking be reopened. I'm sick of you white bitches in authority doing as you please. The buck stops here. And you better remember this photo. Remember what you did to this man. Because I'm sure he's not forgetting it in his grave. Do the right thing and reopen this case. Plain and simple.